Who discovered mass? Antoine Laurent de Lavoisier was a French chemist who was essential to the 18th century chemical revolution. He had the largest influence on both the history of chemistry and the history of biology. He is considered the father of modern chemistry. Lavoisier's great accomplishments in chemistry largely stem from his changing the science from a qualitative to a quantitative one. Lavoisier is mostly noted for his discovery of the role oxygen plays in combustion. He recognized the name oxygen in 1788 and hydrogen in 1783 and opposed the phlogiston's theory. Lavoisier helped construct the metric system, wrote the first extensive list of elements, and helped to reform chemical number. What is mass? Mass is both a property of a physical body and the measure of its resistance to acceleration, the change in its state of motion, when a net force is applied. It also determines the strength of its mutual gravitational attraction to other bodies. The basic SI unit of mass is the kilogram, kg. In physics, mass is not the same as weight, even though mass is often determined by measuring the object's weight using a spring scale, rather than balance scale, comparing it directly with known masses. An object on the moon would weigh less than it does on Earth because of the lower gravity, but it would still have the same mass. This is because weight is a force, while mass is a property that, along with gravity, determines the strength of this force. Why do we use mass? Mass is the amount of matter in an object. Imagine moving to a different planet and you want to weigh something. On the other planet, an object's weight will change, but its mass will be the same. There are a couple ways to measure mass. Your mass measured with a balance would be the same to the moon as it is on Earth. How do we measure mass? The equation for mass is mass times the acceleration of gravity, or m times g. The weight of an object is the gravitational force between the object and the Earth. The more mass the object has, the greater its weight will be. Weight is a force, so it's measured in newtons. On the surface of the Earth, an object with a mass of 1 kilogram has a weight of about 10 newtons. Who was Antoine Lavoisier and why was he so important? Antoine Lavoisier was born in Paris, France on August 26, 1743. He grew up in an aristocratic and wealthy family. His father was a lawyer and his mother died when he was only 5 years old. Antoine discovered his love for science while attending college. However, he initially was going to follow in his father's footsteps, earning a law degree. Lavoisier never did practice law because he found science much more interesting. He had inherited a good deal of money when his mother died and was able to live as a nobleman, pursuing various interests. Lavoisier worked in various government positions and was elected to the Royal Academy of Science in 1764. In 1775, Lavoisier set up a laboratory in Paris where he could run experiments. His lab became a gathering place of scientists. It was in his lab where Lavoisier made many of his important discoveries in chemistry. Lavoisier considered it important to use experiments, precise measurements, and facts in science. The law of conservation of mass. One of the main scientific theories of Lavoisier's time was the phlogiston theory. This theory stated that fire or combustion was made up of an element called phlogiston. Scientists thought that when things burn, they release phlogiston into the air. Lavoisier disproved the phlogiston theory. He demonstrated that there was an element called oxygen that played a major role in combustion. He also showed that the mass of products in reaction are equal to the mass of the reactions. In other words, no mass is lost in a chemical reaction. This became known as the law of conservation of mass and is one of the most important and basic laws of modern chemistry and physics.